Hey, folks. Welcome to NiteLife Exchanges. I'm Scott Barbarino, and NiteLife Exchanges is a place where we get together, my friend Tony, my associate Tony Javed, and myself, and we talk about nightlife. And today, well, Tony, come on for a moment. Let me give you the heads up here. We have somebody. Hello.
Hey,
How are you today?
my gears are grinding, ready to go.
We have somebody really fantastic today. What a pleasure. She's a cabaret performer. She does a lot of work in duo shows that people know her from, but she has an upcoming show at Pangea that's just her, a solo. Let's bring her on, Barbara Bleier.
Hi, Scott. Hi,
Hi,
Tony.
Barbara.
Hey,
How are
welcome
you?
back. So good to see you again.
It's great to see you both.
Barbara, you look fantastic.
Thank
you. Love your hair.
That I have to credit my grandson with. He
Well,
gave me the idea.
He did a good job on that, and you're all ready to roll. You've been in this business for a while, and
Yeah.
you started actually very at a young age, 4 years old, on the stage at Carnegie Hall, which there's a story there. But all of these years later, you're still at it, and you've done so much work with in duo shows with a lot of men along the way. But this one coming up is on your own. But let's talk about some of those men.
Yeah.
Always happy to talk about some of those men.
So Austin Pendleton
Yes.
and you have been collaborating the last few years.
Yeah. Actually, we've been collaborating for 23 years, but steadily the last 6.
And more in cabaret recently.
Yeah.
And those shows are going well. And of course, Austin's working
in Chicago.
A lot, actually. Yeah. He's got a lot going on. A particular favorite of mine, first show I ever saw at Radio City Music Hall was What's Up, Doc?
Oh, yeah.
My mom brought me to Radio City Music Hall to see it. And of course, being from Brooklyn, I have to say that I've seen my cousin Vinny a few times.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
So an incredible person to be working with. When you are with him, percentage-wise, how much is laugh time?
Oh, a lot. A lot.
That's what I figured.
We have a lot of fun together. We really do. And no two shows are the same.
And never the same. And you have some shows queued up that you're waiting on with him that you're going to be doing in
May.
Excellent. Do you have the title for that?
Not yet. But it's going to be, we're going to have some wonderful guest stars too, Gretchen Cryer and Richard Maltby.
Nice.
Are going to be our guests at that show.
Terrific.
So, and speaking of Richard Maltby, you have been collaborated with him on some things along the way. Yes. And we have a little clip. Again, you're one of my favorite people to watch. When it comes to delivering a comedy song, you have impeccable timing. And so does he. Everybody will now see that right now. So let's go to that clip, Tony.
There, he was never there. Every time we talked, I'd look in his eyes, and his mind was where? I don't mean to say life was gloom and doom. Things were always pleasant. If I needed help, he was in the room. He just wasn't present. He just wasn't there. Never really there. I got so unhinged, I went out and binged, had that dumb affair. Still, the fault's not mine. Quoting Gertrude Stein, there was just no there. there. Don't know why I care, except that I am here, 'cause he wasn't
There,
there.
I was never
There.
there. She was always
There.
saying George B.
There.
And my mind said, where?
That was fun.
Good timing.
So yeah,
Good shared timing.
it's about timing and patience, holding and waiting. So, Barbara, in your learning of, getting, into the more of the cabaret show things that you've done, what was a turning point for you? When did you really feel, okay, this is how I'm going to do it? Is it something that came suddenly and you realize that this is perfect, or how did you reach that?
Well, actually, I always, at Music and Art High School, I was the singer with the dance band, the jazz band.
Right.
Then I worked my way through college doing weddings and bar mitzvahs in coffee houses. Then, I've just always loved communicating with an audience. And cabaret is so different from film and theater on that. You really, your partner is your audience.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Well said.
And the room that you've been doing your shows in, I mean, you've been at Don't Tell Mamas, and you're now at Pangea.
Now at Pangea, yes.
And that's a wonderful room.
It is.
For having for not having those walls. You're in that room with the audience.
Very much so.
And
by the way, I have to say that Stephen and Arnaldo and the people who run the club and the people who work there make it a home for artists. They really do.
It absolutely feels. I was there the other night, and they've absolutely gotten to that point where you just walk in there and you can go in there any night.
Yeah.
And it's just the feel, the vibe of the place is really good.
Absolutely.
So to continue to chat about some of the men in Barbara's life, Paul Greenwood.
Paul Greenwood is a dream to work with. He breathes with me. He just knows where I'm going, when I'm going there. And also, I'm a sucker for a good chord. And Paul's chords are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. And again, he never plays the same thing exactly twice. So it's always a surprise, and it's always an interchange between us.
Yeah. And many of the people that know Nightlife Exchanges and have been in this business, in the cabaret industry, if we call it that, know Paul, because actually I know Paul from way back in the 80s, when he was still playing in piano bars.
Yes, I do too.
And he learned a lot of the stuff that he's still using there about connecting with an audience. And the two of you are really very good together. What a nice.
I absolutely love working with him.
And then, of course, there's also Ralph Lampkin.
And Ralph is so dear and so wonderful at what he does.
He sure is.
He cares. You know.
The kids call it OG, by the way, which is old school. I'm not really sure what it means, but Ralph Lampkin is old school. If he's in your corner and he's working on your project,
you're totally right.
And gets on the phone.
Yes.
Says everything. Gets everything. So
and to London a month ago, we had a wonderful. Right. Yeah, we sang. Austin and I sang at the Pheasantry in London, and it was so wonderful. Again, Ruth Leone, a wonderful person who manages a club.
Right. It's really nice.
So Scott, no, not at all. This is just your tip for the week, your slang tip for the week. OG, it does mean old school, but it literally means original gangsta.
Oh,
You're
okay.
kidding.
So it's
I
ultra
can't-
Here you
urban,
are.
and that's what it
Oh, wow.
means.
All
And
right.
so it's now in
Wow.
common parlance. If you're
Live and
if
learn.
you if you're the old guard, it could stand for old guard too. Original gangsta. Yep.
All
I
right.
like
Well,
original gangster.
There you
there
go.
you go. We are. And so all said now, but now you're going to be at Pangea, and the dates we have are March 21st and 28th at 7 p.m. Um, and you're on your own. And
Yes.
Paul's there. Well, Paul's there with you.
But Paul is there with me.
Tell us a little bit about the show that you're doing at Pangea.
It's a little bit different than shows that I've done. I've done solo shows before, but this is it's more of a dramatic piece. I've tried to create really a mix of monologues that I've written. I've tried to bring together being a playwright, an actor, and a singer, and using all of them in this show.
So would you say it's like a master class a little bit that you've put together your experiences, and so somebody coming in will know your process?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
if it's
Well, how would you
necessary.
describe it?
I
Yeah.
would describe it as more, I was trying to be autobiographical
Mhm.
without being, and then I did. I
Hear,
wanted
hear.
it to be, yes, experiences rather than a timeline or something like that.
That's
And
really great because the timelines happen so much. You want to
I
give it an
know,
interesting
I know.
spin.
And
That's
they
great.
end up sort of making you feel like, well, who cares?
that's
So
true.
yeah. So I wanted to make it something about what happens in a lifetime.
And that's kind of why I was asking that question, because I would like to speak to the younger people out there that are
Mhm.
still like, you're younger and you've got a lot ahead, but don't know it all. You're going to find out things that you don't expect or whatever. But it's great to be able to see somebody in a performance like they would see at Pangea, and see where what's possible and how you get there, and all of
I
that
hope
is
so. I hope so.
good.
Um, I'm trying to deal with a lifetime's experience.
And you have had that for sure, for
Oh
sure.
God,
And
yes.
along the way, what would you say like some of the real high points of things that really catapulted you? I mean, aside from the fact that you were 4 years old on the stage at Carnegie Hall, I mean, that's got to be something that you remember. Like, can you go back to that moment?
Um, parts of it, parts of it.
Right.
Parts of it I can. I remember being lifted onto the piano bench by none other than Bess Meyerson, who was a student of my piano teacher. She was the former Miss America, and she came on stage and lifted me onto the piano bench.
What a young, it's such a young age to have such an amazing, incredible, to be in a space like that.
Yes.
That I mean, one would imagine most people would be overwhelmed, but you got to the piano and you played.
And I played. And not only that, my grandson, my younger grandson, has played there twice.
Very nice.
So it's a
Yeah.
family affair.
It's a
How
family.
nice.
Oh, it's kind of special.
And along the way, any other, like just another moment or two of your life's journey where you learned something, and
Oh God, there've been a lot.
so many.
One of the nice ones was the first time I played in Chicago, and my manager at that time, we were sharing an apartment, came in. I was performing with Austin, waving a newspaper, and he said, "You want to read a review?" And it was like my first real review, and it was a good one.
Even better.
I actually I miss being able to hold a hard copy newspaper
Yes,
in
it
my
was
hand with a review.
it was the Chicago Sun-Times, and it was a hard copy newspaper.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you have to snap it. Snap it
Yeah.
once and snap
Yeah.
it again. And
Yeah,
And
it was wonderful, you know.
So
But
everybody, we want you to get out to Pangea.
oh,
Again,
and
it's March
also
21st and 28th. Yeah.
I was going to say another high point was
Oh,
the first time I went on the road, and it was to Romania to act in a play in Romania.
excellent. And what was the title of the play
I can cry.
in Romania?
Yeah,
I
Well,
can cry in Romania.
I cried in Romania.
in Romania. Um, Thank you for that. I mean, yeah, exactly. If you sat down, you're going to have a lot of points along the way
That's
that you
pretty
can
cool.
say this was different, this changed things, this moved things.
Yes,
Thank you for all the work that you've done over the years
thank you.
and thank you
Thank
for being a part of our little world of cabaret and live performance.
Listen, you're an important part of the cabaret world, and I thank you for being that.
And we have one little last surprise because, we had a little thing we were doing called Piano Bar Live. And Tony and I and Michael Mackesy, we wanted to bring people into the, on through Facebook to feel like they were in Piano Bar. And this was pre-pandemic. And we had you as a guest.
Yes, you
And you
did.
came, yes, and it was a pleasure because you made us laugh. And again, you're so good with the timing really is impeccable. So we have a little clip from this was January of 2021. Is that it?
2020.
2020. Prior to the pandemic, which was a couple of
Just
months away. Yeah. And
We
were
didn't know
lucky
how
that-
much we needed the laughs. So thank you.
We did, but that we ended up setting ourselves up at that point that when the pandemic did come, we had already been online and been using these different formats, and a lot of people followed. But it was great to help people to figure out what the new steps were going to be.
You
So,
might say we were the live stream OGs in the cabaret
Yes.
world.
we were gangsters.
You might.
gangsters. Yes.
So Barbara, listen, we're going to say bye, but we're gonna lead out with a little something that you did for us at Piano Bar Live at Brandy's a couple of years ago.
I remember it well.
So Scott, are we going to say our byes now, or are we doing that at the flip side?
I think we can say our byes now and our goodbyes now, and
Great. So
let
we'll close
everybody
out.
get back to the beautiful day we're having.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. So
Thanks,
yeah, well,
Barbara.
thank you so much for joining us, Barbara. It was a delight. And I'm so glad that we get to share some of the laughs that we had back right before the pandemic as we close out. So let's enjoy those together. We'll see you soon.
Bye now.
Bye.
That neighborhood boy I babysat for has turned out to be quite a hunk. And that little kid brother my friend Marchette had, well, maybe some night when I'm drunk. But who would have thought that the thought would occur? But the thought does occur and occur and occur, and not only to me, but to thee, and to thee, and to her, and to him, and to her. It's all the latest rage to be dating a man half your age. But before I consider such unbridled bliss, the question that haunts me is this: am I old enough for a younger man? Have I reached that lofty plateau?